What's up guys? Welcome back to the channel Hand Waving. Your friend Shinobi Addict 2.0 is here again with a brand new Naruto fanfic that's going to change everything. A story where Naruto is betrayed and banished. But destiny has bigger plans for him. From exile to emperor, this is the journey of power, strategy, and love. Today's fanfic is titled, What If Naruto's Bloodline Made Him a Hero and Harem Leader with Anko and Hinata Part 1. Konohagakure no Seto, October 10th. It was October 10th and in Konohagakure no Seto or Konoha for short the annual celebration of the defeat of the Kyuubi no Kitsune or Nine-Tailed Demon Fox, 5 years ago was in full swing. However, one person in particular was not celebrating, no, quite the opposite. In Far City his was running for his life. This person was none other than 5-year-old Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, son of the Yondaime Hokage Minato Namikaze and his wife Kushina Uzumaki Namikaze and the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi. Not that he knew any of that. Now you are probably wondering, how does he contain the Kyuubi when it was killed 5 years ago? Well, the Kyuubi is what is known as a Biju, which are near infinite amounts of chakra and yuki given form, which makes it impossible to kill them, so they can only be sealed. However, due to the Kyuubi being the strongest of the Biju, it can only be sealed in a newborn baby, and Naruto was the only baby born on October 10th when the Kyuubi attacked, so the Yondaime Hokage Minato Namikaze was forced to seal the Kyuubi into Naruto, which resulted in the death of not only himself but also Kushina, leaving Naruto an orphan. The Sendaime Hokage Hiruzen Sarutobi was forced to retake the position of Hokage and tried to keep Naruto safe by keeping his status as the container of the Kyuubi a secret, but the civilian council found out and spread the word. In response, Hiruzen created a law that prevented the adults from telling the younger generation, so Naruto could at least have a chance at making friends. However, that didn't stop some of the more violent people from sometimes hunting the boy down to try and kill the demon, which leads us to where we are now. Naruto was running from another mob of people trying to kill him when he ran into a dead end. This way he went in here, yelled one of the people of the mob chasing Naruto. Shit, they are getting closer and I am trapped, thought Naruto frantically when he suddenly hears a voice. Hold on kid. Suddenly everything goes black. Mindscape. Drip, drip, drip. What the hell? Naruto opens his eyes to see himself in what looks like a sewer. Great, the villagers must have caught me and threw me in the sewer again. Well, might as well get up and get out of here. Naruto begins to get up when he hears a voice from behind him. Come T. His wicket, it's time for us to meet. Naruto turns around to see a large gate with a piece of paper on it that reads seal and walks towards it when he notices a huge fox with 9 tails behind it. Kyuubi. He screams and falls back. Yes kid, I am the Kyuubi no Kitsune and we are in your mindscape now. You are probably wondering why you are here and how I am here. At this, Naruto just nods. Well kid, the story begins back when the first Hokage Hashirama Senju fought Madara Uchiha at the Valley of the End. Madara somehow managed to summon me from my den and then used the damned hack's eyes of his, the Sharingan, to control me to fight for him. However, Hashirama's wife Mito Uzumaki was able to use her mastery of seals to seal me within herself. After the battle was over and both Madara and Hashirama were dead, Mito returned to the village and lived her life, and over time me and her would sometimes talk to each other in her mindscape. However, time passed and Mito grew older to the point where she was nearing end and we began to talk about what would happen when she died. We had discovered that when SHE dies I would be free again, and upon realizing this we decided that if I was free somebody might control me again someday and cause more destruction, so we decided that I would be transferred into someone else before Mito died. This led to Mito choosing a young girl named Kushina Uzumaki to become my next container. She was your mother kid. At this, Naruto's eyes widened and small tears formed at the corners of them. Yes, your mother was my container before your kid. Over time she would come into her mindscape and we would talk about various things like her life, the status of the world outside, the seal and other things, and we grew close to the point where we saw each other as sisters. Naruto begins to open his mouth to ask a question but Kyuubi cuts him off. Yes kid, I am a girl. One day she told me about how she fell in love with a young man by the name of Minato Namikaze and how they got married. She even brought him into her mindscape sometimes to talk to me. At first I didn't like him, but after talking with him grew to like him and see him as a little brother. One day they both came in and told me that Kushina was pregnant. At this, Naruto suddenly interrupts, but wait, if Kushina As my mother, then that would mean that Minato Namikaze is my father, but he was the Yondaime Hokage. Yes, Kit, Minato Namikaze is your father now. Please don't interrupt again. Now after telling me that Kushina was pregnant, we started celebrating. When we were done, I told your parents that I would like to give you a gift. Of course they asked why I would do this, and I simply said that they were the closest thing I have ever had to a family, and any child of theirs I would also consider family. They asked what the gift was, and I told them of a bloodline that I had created using the remains of Kritu. Rest that I came across when I was young. Needless to say, they were shocked and honored and accepted, so I began to implant the bloodline into your DNA. However, the night you were born, tragedy struck. At this, the QB lowers her head for a moment, so Naruto asks, "What happened?" After a moment, the QB continues her story. It's a known fact that when a female Jinchuriki is giving birth, the seal containing the Biju sealed within her weakens, so extra precautions are taken due to this. When your mother went into labor, it was kept secret except for the few people who would to be on hand to help deliver you, which included your father and few others. However, somehow the secret was let out, and a man came right after you were born and held your hostage before kidnapping your mother and extracting me from her. He then placed me under a Genjutsu just like Madara did and forced me to attack Konoha. Your father was able to lead me away from Konoha to where your mother and you were in hopes of sealing me back into your mother. But due to just giving birth and having me ripped from her, she was too weak, so he had to seal me into you. Your mother used a special ability of hers to create Chakra CH. Ains ought hold me down while your father prepared everything, but as he was sealing me into you, I broke free for a second, and in my state I lashed out toward you, and your parents got in the way and were fatally wounded by one of my claws. It was then that I finally broke free from the Genjutsu and not iced what I had done. A tear trails down Kyuubi's cheek and Naruto walks up and hugs her as best he can despite her size. "It's alright, Kyu-chan, I don't blame you for your actions," he says with a small smile on his face. "Thank you, Kit." Now after realizing what I had done, I began to panic, but your parents said it was alright and that it wasn't my fault. Your father then completed the seal and I was sealed in you. However, I was able to hear what was happening outside due to the seal being just finished and heard the Yondaime Hokage talk to your father just before he passed. His dying wish was that you've been seen as a hero. For the next 5 years I waited for the day when we would be able to meet and I would be able to activate your bloodline if you wanted me to. Naruto was speechless after hearing all this. Leering, he had parents who not only loved him but gave their lives to save him, that his father was the Yondaime Hokage, that he had the QB sealed in him, and that he had a bloodline waiting to be activated, but realized that he would follow in his aunt's footsteps and protect the village just like they had. With determination in his eyes, he then spoke, "QB, please activate my bloodline. My parents gave their lives to not only protect me but also the village, so I will follow in their footsteps. I will use this gift from you to protect those who are precious to me like my parents did before me, and that includes you." QB was stunned by Naruto's words and simply thought, "Kushina, Minato, you would be so proud of your son, so young and already so strong." After a moment, QB smiles before saying, "Kit, your parents would be so proud of you. Lady, just as I am. Get ready, I'm going to activate your bloodline, but it's going to hurt. Oh, and Kit, call me Akane, it's my true name." "Okay, Akane-chan, let's do this." "Alright, Kit, here goes, brace yourself," Akane says before activating his bloodline, and Naruto feels like fire is flowing through his out before leaving the mindscape. Outside mindscape, Naruto exits his mindscape to find himself lying on the ground in the alley with the mob of villagers approaching before getting up and letting out a scream that begins to sound like a roar. His face gets longer, his teeth lengthen and turn to fangs. His spine gets longer and forms a tail. His fingers and toes turn into claws. His skin becomes hard, dry, bumpy, and leathery. And finally he grows in size. His head and body get taller and longer and larger till he was easily reaching 20 feet tall and at least 40 feet long from nose to tail. His Oran GE jumpsuit just hanging from his arms. As this was happening, the mob of villagers just stood there watching the demon brat become this thing, before one of them finally snaps out of it and yells, "The demon is finally showing its true colors, kill it," which snaps the others out of their shock and they begin to charge at Naruto. Naruto turns and looks at the mob, says, "Oh no," but it comes out as Ruahemu. The mob charges at him, try to injure him with knives, sword, kunai, and other various sharp objects which just bounce off his skin. a shinobi in the mob quotes his kunai in Wind Chakrabi. After stabbing Naruto with it and ends up piercing about 3 inches into his skin causing him to bleed slightly, Naruto lets out a roar before turning to the shinobi. He lets out a mighty roar, R-O-O-O-A-A-R, before leaning down and lunging forward snatching the man by the waist in his mouth. The man screams. Before Naruto chomps down biting the man in half with a loud crunch, the man's legs and upper torso fall to the ground with a wet plop, and the rest of the mob screams before trying to run. Naruto hears the scream and turns toward the rest of the mob, blood dripping from his mouth and teeth before lunging at the mob and begins to tear them apart, squishing some underfoot, slamming others into the alley's walls with his massive tail, ripping others apart with his jaws, all the while names and pictures passing through his mind: Tyrannosaurus Rex, Velociraptor, Stegosaurus, Triceratops, Apatosaurus, Dilophosaurus, Pterodactyl, Procompsognathus, and finally Diabolus Rex. As this was happening, two Ambu, one with an Inu mask, the other with a Hebi mask, watch in horror and amazement. The Ambu with the Inu mask summons a dog and sends it to get the Hokage. Naruto finishes killing the last person in the mob when he hears someone appear and looks to see the Hokage standing before him with the Inu and Hebi masked Ambu. The Hokage looks at the scene before him, blood and body parts everywhere, and a huge creature standing there looking at him, blood dripping from its mouth and fangs, and an orange jumpsuit just barely hanging onto its little arms, and recognizes it is Naruto's. Naruto, is that you? The Sendaime asks. The creature before him begins to shrink and change, revealing Naruto barely clothed. GG Hebi-chan, is that you? Naruto asks before falling to his knees. Hebi rushes over and catches him before he hits the ground. Nacho looks at Hebi before placing his hand on the side of her mask and gives Best, smiling and giving her forehead a kiss. Thanks Hebi-chan, what would I do without you? Hebi chuckles. You're welcome kiddo, but how about you treat me to some dango to pay me back? Naruto smiles. Sure thing Hebi-chan, all you can eat. Naruto looks at the Sendaime before saying, I know who my parents are, about my tenant, and unlocked my bloodline, but we're going to need to go to your first to talk about it more. Hebi-chan and Inu-san must be there with us. The Sendaime is shocked but recomposes himself before saying, okay Naruto, Hebi, Inu, come with along. He then snaps his fingers and a Ambu with a weasel mask appears. Yes Hokage-sama. The Sendaime looks at Weasel before saying, Gee, I need you to clean the alley up, make sure there is nothing left of body's blood, and do not tell anyone what you have seen here tonight. Is that understood? The Ambu salutes before saying, of course Hokage-sama, and tell Naruto I'm sorry I wasn't there for him tonight. The Sendaime nods his head off course Itachi, and then leaves with Naruto, Hebi, and Inu. When they reach the Hokage's office, Hebi sets Naruto on couch before sitting next to him. Inu leans up against the wall, and the Sendaime sits behind his desk before dismissing the hidden Ambu in the room and acting a privacy seal. Okay Naru. Can you tell me what happened tonight? Naruto holds Hebi's hand, looks at the Sendaime and nods. Okay GG, but can Hebi and Inu remove their masks? I already know who they are. The Sendaime nods and Inu removes his mask, revealing a man in his mid-20s with a cloth mask covering the lower half of his face, his leaf headband over his left eye, and silver gravity defying hair. This is Kakashi Hatake. Hebi then removes her mask, revealing a beautiful young woman between 16 to 18 years old with pupilless chocolate brown eyes and beautiful violet hair pulled into a pineapple-shaped ponytail. This eye S. Anko Mitarashi. Naruto smiles at Anko before giving her cheek a kiss, causing her to blush slightly before he turns to the Sendaime and continues his story. It started when, and then proceeds to tell him everything that happened, from being chased into that alley by the mob, meeting the QB, her telling him her story and about his parents, the relationship between them and herself, along with how she gave him his bloodline, how he left his mindscape and turned into the creature which he is calling a dinosaur, how he defended himself from the mob before Hebi, Inu, Hiruzen himself showed up. When he is done, everyone is speechless with their was on the ground before Anko snaps out of it and yells, hell yeah, the strongest being alive as a female, take that sexists. This proceeds to snap Kakashi and Hiruzen out of their shocked state, and the Sendaime finally says, I'm getting too old for this shit. Okay, I'm classifying everything said here as AS rank secret. Now Naruto, what do you want to do? Naruto thinks for a second before saying, well GG, I want to make my parents proud and protect the village and my precious people like you, Ayame-chan, Teishi Oji-san, and Anko-chan, so I Want to be a shinobi? Hiruzen smiles and thinks, Minato, Kushina, you would be so proud of your son. Okay Naruto, so you want to join the academy? Naruto shakes his head. Actually GG, I was hoping Anko-chan would teach me since the academy teachers would try to sabotage my learning, and it would allow me to train with my bloodline and learn what I can with it. Plus Akane-chan said she wants to train me in some of her Kitsune and Akuma styles. The Hokage and Kakashi look amazed by how much thought he has put into this in such a short amount of time, while Anko has a slight blush due to Naruto wanting her to be his teacher. After a few minutes of thinking, the Sendime finally speaks. Okay Naruto, you have a good point. Anko can train you, but you will have to graduate with your age group. Naruto smiled brightly and nods his head. Thanks GG, just you wait, by the time my age group graduates I will be really strong, that way I can protect my precious people. The Sendime smiles and looks to Anko. Anko, starting first thing in the morning you are to begin training Naruto. You have my permission to use training ground 44, actual. Why I would recommend you use it and both of you live in the tower at the center of it, that way we can keep not only his bloodline a secret for as long as possible but also the fact that he is training so early. Anko nods. Of course old man, I was planning on doing that anyway. Come on Naruto, let's go get some rest before your torture training. Yeah, training starts tomorrow. She then grabs Naruto and they both leave in a shushin. Kakashi nods to the Sendime and leaves himself. Hiruzen leans back in his chair. So what do you think of all this, Jiraiya? The wall next to the window shimmers before revealing a tall man with white spike hair, wearing wooden clogs, a red kabuki-style outfit with a large scroll tied to the back of his waist, and a headband that reads, "Oil," on it. Jiraiya thinks for a minute. Well sensei, if he is anything like Minato and Kushina, then he is going to be a powerhouse in the near future. Then there is the Kyuubi and her story, I believe it. Minato once told me about when he went with Kushina into her mindscape and met her and befriended her, which mad. The whole her attacking Konoha for no reason so fishy in the first place, seeing how she loved Kushina and Minato like siblings. Then there is that bloodline of his, it's amazing. So if you add all this up, he could very easily be the strongest person to walk the elemental nations since the Sage of Sea X-Paths, which adds more evidence to him being the child of prophecy that the Elder Toad spoke of. The next morning Naruto wakes up to feel something snuggling his left side and looks over to see Anko using him like a body pillow. A small smile comes to his face as he thinks, she really is just like a little kid at times like this. He wiggles out of Anko's grip before placing a pillow in his place so she won't wake up before walking out of the bedroom and towards the kitchen to make breakfast. Anko wakes to the smell of something delicious and gets up, noticing Naruto isn't in bed anymore. As she walks to kitchen to see Naruto cooking breakfast, she yawns before asking Naruto, "Good morning Naruto, what's for breakfast?" and sits down at the table. A small sly smile comes to Naruto's face before answering, "Well Anko-chan, we have an egg omelette with cheese, onions, sausage, toast, slices of bacon, and last but not least we have..." Anko's eyes widen with each thing he lists off before getting impatient that he is stalling. "Okay, what's the last thing we're having?" Another sly smile comes to Naruto's face. "Well, the last thing is some of my special Naruto dango." As soon he finishes, Anko jumps fr. On the her chair and gloms him. "Oh Naru-kun, you spoil me." He smiles. "Of course I do Anko-chan, but you're worth it. Now let's eat before starting my training." Anko nods and they eat breakfast. After finishing breakfast, both of them showering and getting dressed, they leave the tower to start training. Anko turns to Naruto. "Okay Naruto, let's start by unlocking your chakra." Naruto nods and forms the Ram seal and concentrating. After a minute or so, a massive burst of chakra erupts around him, nearly knocking Anko off her feet before dying down. Anko stands there with her jaw on the ground thinking, "Hall. Why shit, that was more chakra than my entire reserves and he is only 5 years old." After recovering from her shocked state, Anko looks at Naruto and smiles. "Well Naruto-kun, you're certainly full of surprises, cause you just released more chakra than I have in my entire reserves. Now that you have unlocked our chakra, the torture training, training can finally begin." She then smiles sadistically. "Get ready Naruto, cause the fun is about to start." Naruto merely gulps before thinking, "Well, I did ask for this, so who am I to complain?" He nods before saying, "I'm ready Anko-sensei, let's start." And so began Naruto's 8 years of torture training. 1 month later, Naruto had been training with Anko for a month, learning various things including taijutsu, ninjutsu, kenjutsu, shurikenjutsu, tactics, stealth, and traps. Akane-chan had been teaching him her Kitsune and Akuma styles in his mindscape at night, along with how to use his bloodline, which he had named Saurian Soul. And one night, while doing some late-night training in his bloodline, he noticed something that set for a series of events that would change the lives of more people than he knew. Naruto was training in the newest form of his bloodline that he had unlocked. It was medium-sized at about 6 to 8 feet tall and about 12 feet long. Its body was lean while at the same time muscular. His teeth were medium-sized backwards facing like snake fangs and razor-sharp. His arms were medium length. GTHN had 3 claws for fingers, but the most intimidating feature of the form was the 2 6-inch long claws on his feet, one on each foot. From what he remembered when the images and names passed through his mind a month earlier, this dinosaur was called a velociraptor, liked to hunt in packs, and was incredibly smart. Naruto was running through the forest of death in his velociraptor form, getting used to its speed, evasiveness, and enhanced senses, hunting a boar so that he could make Anko something special for dinner due to it being the 1-month anniversary of when they started training. NG, when he smelled something strange coming from the direction of the Hyuga compound, it smelled of fear, and considering it was heading away from the compound, he figured something was wrong and headed out to see what was happening. 5 minutes earlier, a tall man dressed in all black with Kumogakure headband was running from the Hyuga compound with a large sack over his shoulder. In said sack was 5-year-old Hinata Hyuga, firstborn daughter of clan head Hiyashi Hyuga. She had been sleeping when a man came into her room and kidnapped her and was now taking her who knows where to do who knows what to her, and she was terrified, praying that anyone would come save her. The man smirked, thinking how easy it had been to kidnap the young Hyuga heiress so that Kumo would finally get the Byakugan bloodline. He had been given a mission by the villagers' council to pose as the ambassador of the village and go to Konoha to talk about establishing a peace treaty as cover to sneak and kidnap the young Hyuga heiress. He had already kidnapped the young girl and was on his way to Kumo when he noticed something up ahead. It looked like some kind of large bipedal lizard-like thing that had 3 claws on each hand, and on each foot was a long menacing-looking claw in addition to the others. It just stood there looking at him. Naruto had made it back to village fairly quickly and noticed a tall man in black with a large sack over his shoulder that was the source of the fear he smelled earlier, and instantly realized that someone was being kidnapped by this man. So he quickly thought of a plan and put it into action. He created 2 shadow clones, glad that Anko had taught him the jutsu, and due to him using it so much had mastered it, making him able to do it without having to use hand seals. He mentally commanded the 2 velociraptor clones of himself to take up a pincer formation around the man. After they left, he stood out in the open and looked at the man. The man looked at the creature before him for a minute before deciding enough was enough. I don't know what you are, but you best get out of here before I kill. The creature just tilted its head to the side. The man set the sack down and took out a kunai. Fine, have it your way, don't say I didn't warn you, and charged at the creature. As he made it to the halfway point between them, he thought, stupid creature doesn't stand a chance, should have just left, better finish this quick before anyone shows up. All these thoughts were running through his head as he got closer and closer. He never noticed the 2 shadows come out on either side of him. He never noticed them get closer to him. He never noticed one jump into the air with its feet forward. He never noticed the other slash his abdomen. He never noticed the one in the air descend upon him and tear into his flesh. He never noticed the low okay in the eyes of the one in front of him that said, gotcha. He never noticed any of these things until it was too late. He felt his abdomen get sliced open. He felt the large claws of the one in the air slice into his back and pin him to the ground. He felt the teeth of the one his back grip the back of his neck. He felt fear as the pressure increased. He felt his neck start to twist as the creature turned its head sharply. Then he felt no more as his neck snapped, severing his spine from his brain, killing him. Naruto looked at the man before him, dead from his clone, snapping his neck before dismissing his clones, tilting his head towards the sky and letting out a roar, that coughing like one that velociraptors do in the movies before changing back to his normal form and walking over to the sack and opening it. Hinata was terrified. The man had set her down, and then she heard him saying something, and then everything was quiet. She heard footsteps walking toward her before opening the bag. She expected to see the scary man that had put her in the bag, not a boy that had sun-blonde hair, the most beautiful blue eyes she had ever seen, 3 whisker-like marks on each cheek, smiling at her as he helped her out of the bag. Naruto helped the girl out of the bag as he took in her appearance. She had midnight blue hair cut into a Heian style, her eyes were beautiful white with hints of lavender and had no pupils. She had on lavender pajamas. He smiled at her. Are you alright? She nods. Good, now let's get you home. I'm sure that everyone is worried about you. He grabs her hand, not noticing the blush on her face. My name is Naruto Uzumaki, by the way. What's yours? She blushes a little more before swearing. Hinata Hyuga. He smiles. Nice to meet you, Hinata-chan. They walk for a little while before they see a man that looks like an older version of Hinata but male obviously. The man notices them and runs towards them. Hinata, there you are. What happened and who is this? Hinata proceeds to tell man what happened while Naruto just stands there waiting till she is done. After Hinata finishes telling the man what happened, he turns towards Naruto. Is what she true, young man? Naruto nods. Yes sir, I was out walking and enjoying the night when I noticed a man in all black running with a sack over his shoulder that was moving like someone inside and went after him. I then confronted said man and let Hinata-chan out of the bag before walking her back home, in which you saw us. The man in front of him looks skeptical, so he continues, if you are having a hard time believing me, you can have so. Mion, go check the way we came from. They will find the man on the ground in the middle of the street. Meanwhile, you and I can go with you to see the Hokage, where things will be explained further. The man thinks for a second before nodding. Naruto notices 2 more men appear next to him. One looks just like the man in front of him. The man turns toward the man that looks like him. Hisashi, go check up the road to see if there is a man lying in the center of the street, and if so, bring him to Anoichi at the INT. Hisashi nods and leaves. He then turns toward the other man. Go take Hinata home and info room. Hatomi, what happened? The other man nods before leaving with Hinata. The man then turns toward Naruto. Come along Naruto, let's go talk to the Hokage. Naruto's eyes widen. You know who I am? The man chuckles. Of course, I doubt there is anyone in the village that doesn't know who you are, and I must say that prank you played on the civilian council was very funny. Naruto smiles and rubs the back of his head. Thanks, they had it coming. The man smiles. That they did, Naruto, that they did. Naruto and the man reach the Hokage's office and enter to see the Sindime doing paperwork before looking you. Hiyashi. Naruto, what can I do for you? The now named Hiyashi bows before speaking. Hokage-sama, earlier tonight my daughter Hinata was taken from her room by someone, and after searching I discovered young Naruto here walking her back home, at which time I questioned him and he told me how he was out for a walk when he noticed a man in black carrying a bag that was moving and proceeded to confront the man and rescued Hinata. At this the Hokage's eyes widen and Naruto rubs the back of his head sheepishly. Hiyashi then continues, now after hearing young Naruto's story I was a little skeptical and said that we should talk to you about it, and after having escort Hinata home, and my brother Hisashi go see if there was in fact a body down the road we came here. The Hokage then turns to Naruto. Naruto, is what Hiyashi said true? Naruto nods his head. Yeah GG, I was out training in that when I noticed the man and confronted him like Hiyashi-san said, before letting Hinata-chan out of the bag and walking her home. When Hiyashi-san saw us, Hiyashi raises an eyebrow at the mention of that, wondering what it meant but decided to wait to ask. The doors to the Hokage's office then open to reveal Hisashi, who walks in and bows to the Hokage and Hiyashi before smiling at Naruto. I have just finished my task, Hiyashi, and like young Naruto said, there was in fact a man's body down the road along a sack that had residual amounts of Hinata's chakra in it. Upon bringing the body, which I might had was in my own opinion very effectively killed, to Anoichi-san, he used his clan's mind warp jutsu to enter the man's mind and found out that he was a shinobi from Kumo that had orders from their council to pose as an ambassador to discuss a peace treaty in order to kidnap a main branch Hyuga to be brought back so that they could have the Byakugan. All of this however went on with behind the back of the Yondaime Reikage. He finished. The Hokage then nods his head. Thank you Hisashi, you may return home. Hisashi then bows before leaving. The Hokage turns toward Naruto and smiles. Well done Naruto, you saved somebody from a fate worse than death tonight. I am very proud of you. Naruto smiles. No problem GG, I am just glad Hinata-chan is safe. She seems like a nice person. he finishes while they Hokage and Hiashi smile. Hiashi then asks the Hokage-sama, if I may, what is this, that Naruto referred to earlier? The Hokage looks to Naruto, who nods. He then dismisses the Ambu in the room before setting up a privacy seal. Hiashi, what we are about to tell you is AS rank secret, not to be told to anyone. Hiashi nods. The Hokage and Naruto then proceed to tell Hiashi about everything, including Naruto's heritage, his bloodline, how the Kyuubi really is, the night of his birth, his secret training with Anko. Nothing is left out, and by the end of it Hiashi's jaw is on the floor. He then turns toward Naruto. Wait, you're Minato and Kushina's son. Naruto nods. Naruto, your father was not only my best friend, but your mother was best friends with my wife Hitomi. When the four of us found out that both your mother and my wife were pregnant, and that you were going to be a boy while me and my wife were having a girl, the four of us decided to form a marriage contract between you and Hinata. At this, Naruto's eyes widen. That's right, Naruto, you and Hinata are engaged to each other. Naruto thinks for a moment. Hiashi-san, while I'm honored to be engaged to Hinata, I will not marry someone unless it is out of love, and both of us love each other and therefore will not marry Hinata unless such a thing happens. At this, Hiashi eyes widen. However, that does not mean that I will not give Hinata a chance. From the short amount of time that I have known her, I can already tell you she is a great person, and anyone she falls in love with will be the luckiest man in all of the elemental nations. What I propose is that we keep my engagement to her a secret, that way her and I get to know each other, and if we end up loving each other, we will know the love between us is real and not due to the contract, and then the contract is fulfilled. And if we don't, then she will never know and go on with her life. Her happiness is more important than some contract. He finishes with a smile. Hiashi and the Hokage are stunned before both smile, thinking the same thing. Minato, Kushina, your son is already such a great person. Hiashi then speaks. Naruto, I see so much of your parents in you. You have your father's intellect and compassion, and your mother's kind heart. Very well, we will keep the engagement a secret from Hinata so that if you both fall in love, it will be genuine. He then turns toward the Hokage and bows. I will take my leave, Hokage-sama. Before leaving, Hiruzen looks toward Naruto. Naruto, you truly are one of a kind. Naruto smiles and rubs the back of his head. Well, Gee, of course I am. I am May after all. The Hokage chuckles. That you are, Naruto. That you are? Now I think it's time you go and see Anko. I'm sure she is worried about you. Naruto pales, thinking that, well, Gigi gotta go see ya. He then leaves so fast you would swear he was using the Hirishin as US. Ow him. Naruto returns to the tower and sneaks in, hoping Anko is asleep, when suddenly the lights turn on to show Anko standing there with her arms crossed, tapping her foot. Well, look who decided to show up. Where have you been? I have been missing my favorite pillow. Naruto chuckles and begins to explain what happened, and when he is done, Anko just shakes her head. Not even 6 years old and already getting into situations like this. What am I going to do with you? And what's this I hear about you being engaged to little Hinata? He chuckles nervously. Well, he was set up by our parents and might not even happen if we don't love each other. He then walks over to Anko and hugs her. Besides, Eve, if we do fall in love and get married, you won't get rid of me that easily, because I love you and you will be there, right there beside her if I marry Hinata. Anko's eyes widen and blushes before smiling, not one of the smiles she shows most people, but a true smile that only Naruto has seen. You got that right, Jackie, but that's not for a while. After all, what would people think of me marrying a Jackie like you? Naruto chuckles. They would think that I am the luckiest guy in the world for having a woman as readable and beautiful as you as my wife. He then stands on his tiptoes and kisses her cheek. Now let's go to bed. We have a lot of training to do and only 7 years and 11 months to do it. She smiles. You got that right, Jackie. They then go into the bedroom and go to sleep with Anko cuddling Naruto like he is a body pillow. 7 years 11 months later. A 5 feet 8 inches tall 13-year-old with sun blonde hair, blue eyes and 3 whisker-like marks on each cheek stands on the roof of a building next to the Ninja Academy. He is wearing black steel-toe combat boots, dark red cargo pants, a fishnet shirt that shows his six-pack abs and chest, a long red trench coat with red flames on the bottom that goes down to his ankles. On the back of the trench coat near the top are the words, Saurian Soul, in gold lettering, and underneath it there is some kind of creature skull. Jurassic Park logo. On his right arm, Th. Air has a tattoo of a crimson nine-tailed fox. On his chest above his right pec there is a tattoo of a purple snake coiled around a heart. On his left pec there is a tattoo of the moon with lavender hints in it above a heart. And he is wearing black sunglasses. He looks at the building before looking at the note in his hands and smiling. Well, better not keep them waiting. Should I just enter the building normally or with style? Style it is. He then smirks before running and leaping into the air and rolling into a ball. Naruto Uzumaki was about to make himself known and things would never be same for those around him. Those poor bastards, not really, evil smile. Iruka Yumino was many things, a man in his mid-late 20s, a shinobi of Konoha, a teacher of the next generation of Konoha's shinobi, and finally an orphan from the Kyuubi attack 13 years ago. However, as he walked into Hai's classroom with his assistant teacher Mizuki, he couldn't help but feel like something was going to happen today that would not only be hilarious but also make a fool of him, but he pushed it aside for the moment and looked upon his class. First there was Sasuke Uchiha. He had brown hair that looked like onyx eyes, and had a look on his face that would make you think somebody stuck a 10-foot pole up his ass and killed his puppy. He wore a dark blue shirt with the Uchiha fan on the back, white shorts and black sandals. He sat at his seat with an air that said, "I'm the best thing since sliced bread, bow before me, del sunal much." Asterisk. Next there was Choji Akamichi Tub, big-boned, boy munching on a bag of chips. He had on a grey shirt, tan shorts, and a pair of sandals. Next to him sat his best friend Shikamaru Nara. Shikamaru Nara is one of the smartest people in the village like the rest of his clan, but he was also one of the laziest, also like the rest of his clan, the males anyway. The females however were energetic and would often be seen whacking their husbands, boyfriends, or brothers over the head with frying pans they seemed to pull out of thin air. He had brown hair pulled into a pineapple ponytail. He wore a brown shirt and black pants with grey sandals. He had his head down on his desk and was currently sleeping. Next was Shino Aburam. He has black hair and wore a long closed trench coat that covered his entire body up to his nose and wore black sunglasses that hid his eyes. Next to him sat Kiba Inuzuka. Kiba Inuzuka is a loud, brash, perverted boy who wore a grey jacket with the hood over his head, brown hats, and sandals. Like the rest of his clan, he had two fang tattoos on his cheeks, and his unknown dog companion Akamaru, a little puppy with white fur, sat on his head. Next was Inu Yamanaka. He has long blonde hair pulled into a ponytail, and wore a purple top and shorts. She, like the majority of the females in the CL, was a fangirl chasing after Sasuke. Sitting next to her was the CL Banshee, Sakura Haruno. She wore a red dress with blue sandals. She had pink hair and green eyes, and also like the majority of the girls in the CL, she too was a fangirl chasing Sasuke. Next there was Hanata Hyuga. She had changed a lot in the last 7 years. She had grown to be around 5 feet 3 inches. Her hair had grown and no reaches mid-back. She wears a baggy beige jacket that hides her midseco and long blue pants. The rest of the kids in the CL were just no-name civilians that Iruka really didn't bother remembering the names of, cause they probably wouldn't appear again after this chapter. Where did that come from? He thought before shaking his head. He then clears his throat trying to get the class's attention. No effect, so he tries a few more times before a tick mark appears on his forehead. Okay, shut up and pay attention, he yells instantly. The CL does so, causing him to smile. Okay, now today is the day of the graduation exam that will determine if you become shinobi or not. He begins before the one of the windows in the classroom break and a black ball flies through before attaching itself to the blackboard. The ball pops open, revealing a banner that says, "The sexiest man alive, Naruto Uzumaki is here," and standing next to it is a 5 feet 8 inches tall 13-year-old with sun blonde hair, blue eyes and 3 whisker-like marks on each cheek. Stands on the roof of a building next to the Ninja Academy. He is wearing black steel-toe combat boots, dark red cargo pants, a fishnet shirt that shows off his six-pack abs and chest, a long red trench coat with red flames on the bottom that goes down to his ankles. On the back of the trench coat near the top are the words, "Saurian Soul," in gold lettering, and underneath it there is some kind of creature's skull, Jurassic Park logo. On his right arm there is a tattoo of a crimson nine-tailed fox. On his chest above his right pec there is a tattoo of a purple snake coiled around a heart. On his left pec there is a tattoo of the moon with lavender hints in it above a heart, and he is wearing black sunglasses. He turns to Iruka and raises his hand. Yo, am I late? Iruka just stands there for a second before clearing his throat. Who and why are you my class? Naruto just tilts his head to the side and looks at Iruka. Well, in order, my name is Naruto Uzumaki, hence the reason I came out of, and I'm standing next to that ball next to me that has their banner saying, the sexiest man alive, Naruto Uzumaki is here. Q sweat drop from most of the class and his tea. Oh, what I am doing here, this is my CL. And I'm here to take the graduation exam. I have a note from the Hokage, and hands Iruka the note, causing his eyes to widen before rubbing the bridge of his nose and muttering, I need a drink. He then notices Naruto holding a flask out to him. Here's some of my spec. Here, stash, it helps with the stress. Iruka grabs the flask and takes a gulp before handing it back to Naruto. Thanks, I needed that. Okay, now CL. We have a new student joining us today. Meet Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto raises his hand. Yo, nice to meet you. Suddenly there was a yell of, Iruka-sensei, why does this nobody get to just join at the end of the year when we're graduating? Only SOMONEAS awesome ASSAUSKE Kun should be able to do that. I just died a little writing that, was the yell of the CL. Banshee, I mean Sakura. Yes, Sakura. After recovering and stopping his ears from bleeding, Iruka looks at Sakura before saying, first Sakura, he has a note signed by the Hokage himself saying he can, and secondly, if you ever yell like that again, I will have you clean the Akimichi sewer system until it sparkles with your toothbrush, which caused many of the CL to go green in the face, but none more so than Sakura. After composing himself, he turns to Naruto and says, okay Naruto, how about you tell us a little about yourself? Naruto smiles before nodding. Okay Iruka-sensei, my name is Naruto Uzumaki, the sexiest man alive. Q sweat drop from Iruka *, my like SR training, ramen, foxes, snakes and reptiles in general, the moon, my Hebiheim, my lavender moonheim, music, singing and playing my guitar, cooking, my dislikes are traitors, rapists, perverts, the time it takes to cook ramen, and people who can't tell the difference between a kunai and the S. Scroll, it's sealed in. My dream for the future is to get stronger to protect my precious people, bring peace to the elemental nations, become Hokage, and have a family. He finishes with smile. Iruka and the class sit there speechless for a bit before there is a loud squeal and a midnight blue-haired blur rockets into Naruto, who just catches it and twirls around before stopping. He looks at the person in his arms and smiles. Hello Hinata-chan, did you miss me? Her answer was to put her arms around his neck and kiss him on the lips passionately as he wraps his arms around her waist. This causes various reactions among the class. Iruka has his jaw on the ground and a little blood dripping down his nose, and the rest of the CL has their jaws on the floor. After ending the kiss, Naruto looks Hinata in the eyes and smiles. I'll take that as a yes, she responds by tapping him on the chest lightly. Naruto looks at the CL. But haven't you ever seen someone kiss their fiancé before? This causes everyone's jaws to go deeper into the floor and more blood to leak from Iruka's nose. After a few minutes, everyone recovers and Iruka clears his throat. Okay Naruto, Hinata, if you will take your seats, we will start the written exam. Naruto and Hinata nod before giving each other a quick kiss on the lips and going to their seats. Iruka then has Mizuki P out the tests, who then proceeds to give everyone a test before coming to Naruto and gives him his while before turning around and smiling to himself while he thinks, let's see the demon brat P. That. Naruto looks at the test and notices that they are at least Chunin level questions, realizing that it's under a genjutsu before thinking, so he is one of the people who hates me for holding Akane-chan. Well, let's just fix this, shall we? Akane-chan, you got that right. Naruto-kun, let's show the and what happens when they mess with my little brother. Akane speaks through the mental link they set up a few years back. Naruto then dispels the genjutsu and answers the questions, getting them all right, and then waits for everyone else to finish. 30 minutes later, Iruka looks at the clock before turning to the CL. Alright, that's time, pencils down and bring your tests to me before heading outside to the training field. Everyone gets up and heads outside. Everyone stands outside at the throwing range as Iruka and Mizuki walk up. Okay, now we will test your shuriken jutsu. When I call your name, come up and pick up 10 shuriken and 10 kunai and throw them at the training dummies. He then proceeds to call people one by one. Choji gets a 7/10 for both shuriken and kunai. Shikamaru gets a 6/10 for shuriken and kunai, barely trying while trying enough so he passes. Shino gets a 7/10 for shuriken and 8/10 for kunai. Kiba gets a 7/10 for both Shuriken and Kunai. Both Ino and Sakura get 6/10 for both Shuriken and Kunai. Hinata gets a 8/10 for both Kunai and S. Hurricane. Sasuke gets a 8/10 for Shuriken and a 9/10 for Kunai, causing his fangirls to scream about how he is the best. He walks from the throwing spot and gives Naruto a look that says, "Beat that dope." Naruto just ignores him. Iruka then calls Naruto's name. Naruto walks up to the line and picks up the kunai and shuriken. Iruka looks at him and says, "Whenever you're ready, Naruto." Naruto nods and gets into a throwing stance before throwing all 10 kunai at once, followed by all 10 shuriken. After he is done, most of the CL laughs thinking he missed and Sakura yells, "The backer can't even hit the target." Everyone then looks to Iruka, who has his eyes wide and his jaw wide open before turning to Naruto. "Great job, Naruto, perfect score and bonus points for hitting other vital points." This shuts everyone up and Sakura yells, "What are you taking about, sensei? He missed everyone." Iruka then turns to Sakura. "No, Sakura, he not only hit everyone, he placed them in places that are all fatal, ranging from the throat, lungs, kidneys, liver, and finally the eyes." This shuts her up while everyone just looks on with wide eyes and Sasuke grits his teeth due to the dope getting a higher score. Iruka then says, "Okay, next up is Taijutsu. First up is Shinohaburam vs. Random Civilian 1. Iruka starts the match and within a few minutes the winner is Shino. Next is Choji vs. Shikamaru. Shikamaru forfeits, stating it's troublesome. Then Ino vs. Sakura, which ends in a draw. Next is Kiba vs. Random Civilian 2 and Kiba wins fairly quickly. Hinata wins against Random Civilian 3. Finally Iruka calls Sasuke Uchiha vs. Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto steps into the ring and gets into a stance as Sasuke walks into the ring. "You should give up now, dope. There is no way you can beat me and Uchiha. We are the elite of this village. No one is better than us." As he gets into the Uchiha Interceptor fist style, Naruto just laughs. If that's the case, Sasuke, then why haven't there been any Uchiha Hokages? Then if your clan is the best like you say, then by definition every single Hokage would have been one, or at least one of them would have been, but no, there isn't a single Hokage that's been an Uchiha, so that must mean our clan isn't as great as you say it is. Everyone just stands there in silence before Kiba and the rest of the boys start laughing. Hinata giggles while Sakura and the rest of the fangirls start screaming at Naruto. Sasuke gets furious before yelling, "I will kill you, dope," and charging at Naruto. Sasuke throws a wild punch at Naruto's head, but Naruto just moves his head to the side before giving a hard uppercut to Sasuke's chin, sending him flying into the air. Naruto then jumps into the air, delivers a devastating axe kick to Sasuke's stomach, send him crashing into the ground where he bounces off the ground. Naruto then lands beside him before delivering a spin kick which sends him flying out of the ring into a tree. Everyone stands there in silence watching what can only be described as a slaughter before Sasuke goes flying out of the ring and hits a tree. Iruka recovers from his shock before saying, "Winner Naruto Uzumaki." Naruto turns around to leave the ring as Sasuke starts to get up. Sasuke, who's furious, starts going through hand seals. Iruka notices this and tries to rush to stop him, but is too late as Sasuke stops and takes a deep breath before yelling, "Fire style, Grand Fireball." Aljutsu, a medium-sized fire, blows out of his mouth and heads toward Naruto, who turns around just in time to see the fireball hit him. Everyone watches in horror as they see the fireball hit Naruto and Sakura yells, "Yeah, that's what you get for not letting Sasuke-kun win, like you should have back now. You are dead," and laughs. Everyone turns to look at her with a WTF expression on their face right before Hinata hits her with a Juken strike, knocking her out. Sasuke begins laughing manically. "That's what you get, dope, when you go against an elite like myself." He then suddenly feels something cold and metal on his throat and turns to see Naruto next to him, completely unharmed, holding a kunai to his throat with a murderous look in his eyes, before he says, "So you think you can try to kill a fellow leaf shinobi? Just they beat you in perfectly legal spa. You do know that what you just did is treason, right, team? Which means I am well within my rights to simply end your life right here, you pathetic sack of shit. Why your brother left you alive instead of someone like your mother or his friend Shinsui, I will never know, but understand this right now, Sasuke. If you ever try to kill Anot, her leaf shinobi, I will personally cut your balls off, cut your eyes out of head and make you eat them before placing your balls in your eye sockets, before cutting the tiny pentacle off your and shove it down your throat. before shoving my foot so far UP or I will force the pole that's stuck UPT. Hear out your mouth, do I make myself clear? He yelled, leaking massive amounts of KI. Killing intent, all pointed directly at Susk, who could only nod slowly as he pissed and shit his pants before passing out. Naruto turns toward Iruka and says, "Sorry about that Iruka-sensei, just had to get a point across to the team, and considering how thick his skull is, I thought it would be best if I went about it that way." Iruka nods his head. "Very well Naruto, considering what Sasuke attempted, you are well within your right to do that, and I will be brining his actions up with the Hokage, so he will definitely get punished." Naruto nods his head. "I don't think that will be necessary, isn't that right, Ambu-san?" And Ambu with the Inu mask jumps down and nods to Naruto. "Very impressive on being able to find me, Naruto. How were you able to do so, if I might ask?" Naruto smiled. "I was able to smell you." The Ambu just stand there. "And what do I smell like, if I might ask?" Naruto beckons the Ambu over and whispers in his ear. The Ambu suddenly flinches before standing up. "Well, I will keep that in mind, Naruto, and thank you for the advice. Now I will take the Uchiha to clean himself up before taking him to the Hokage. Have a nice day." Naruto smiles. "You too, Inu-san." The Ambu then leaves. Naruto turns toward the CL and asks, "What?" Iruka looks at him and asks, "What did you tell him, Naruto?" Naruto pats his fist into his palm and his eyes a little before grinning sadistically. "I told him he smells like semen, alcohol, and shame, and that he may want to lay off on playing his skin flute before going out on patrol, or at least a shower to wash off the shame and smell before he does so." Iruka and everyone just stand there with their jaws on the ground before bursting out in laughter. After about 10 minutes they calm down and Iruka speaks. "Okay, now that that's out of our system, let's start the final part of the exam. The ninjutsu portion. When I call you name, please perform a henge, substitution, and finally the Bunshin clone, in that order, and if you have any other jutsu for extra credit." "Okay, first up is." One by one the CL went up to take the test, with the civilians mostly failing, with all the clan heirs and Sakura, I wish I could just fail her right here, each performing the 3 required jutsu and an extra credit. 1 Choji use his partial expansion jutsu, Shikamaru use his Kajmain jutsu, Ino use her mind body switch jutsu on Shikamaru to make him do an embarrassing dance, Shino used his clan's bug clone jutsu, Kiba used his clan's man beast clone with Akamaru, Sakura used some pathetic genjutsu on random civilian 4, Hanata used her clan's 32 palm strike, and finally it was Naruto's turn. Iruka looks at Naruto. "Okay Naruto, please perform the henge." Naruto nods and instantly changes into a perfect copy of the Yondaime before Iruka gives him the signal to release it. "Very good Naruto, a perfect transformation, and without hand seals, bonus points for that. Now please perform the substitute." On. Naruto nods and smiles sadistically. Suddenly there is a puff of smoke and the Sendaime is there reading a very familiar orange book with blood leaking from his nose. Iruka looks at him and clears his throat. Hokage-sama." The Sendaime looks up and sees Iruka and everyone else before asking, "Naru too?" Iruka nods his head and suddenly the Hokage goes up in a puff of smoke and Naruto is standing there again snickering. Iruka sighs and looks at Naruto. "Okay Naruto, now please perform the Bunshin." Naruto tilts his head and asks, "Iruka-sensei, can it be a variation of the Bunshin?" Iruka nods his head and Naruto then closes his eyes. Suddenly the whole training field goes up in smoke. When it clears, there are at least 500 Naruto clones standing there doing various things, from cleaning their nails to play rock paper scissors with each other. Iruka sees this and his jaw hits the ground and he drops his clipboard. "Naruto, are these what I think they are?" Naruto nods. "Yep, they are shadow clones." Kiba then asks, "Iruka-sensei, what are shadow clones?" Iruka gathers himself before answering Kiba. "The shadow clone jutsu is AA rank kinjutsu due to the large amount of chakra dare to perform it. It requires so much chakra that most Chunin can only make between 5 to 10 before they run out of chakra. Hokage-sama himself could only make around 100 when he was in his prime, but for Naruto to make over 500 in one sitting and not even be winded is astounding alone, but to do so at the age of 13 is just mind-boggling." Everyone's jaws hit the ground as they look at Naruto. Iruka finally recovers from the shock as Naruto dispels the clones. "Okay Naruto, I have a feeling I am going to regret saying this, but do you have a jutsu you would like to perform for extra credit?" "Not that You need it at this point. Another sadistic smile appears on Naruto's face, sending shivers down everyone's spines before he says, "Yeah, Iruka-sensei, but everyone needs to step back, it's kind of big." Iruka nods and steps with everyone else. Naruto closes his eyes before suddenly opening them and saying, "Saurian Soul, Tyrannosaurus Rex." Naruto then begins to change. His face gets longer, his teeth lengthen and turn to fangs, his spine gets longer and forms a tail, his fingers and toes turn into claws, his skin becomes hard, dry, bumpy, and leathery, and finally he grows in size. His head and body get taller and longer and larger till he was easily reaching 20 feet tall and at least 40 feet long from nose to tail. Everyone minus Hinata looks on in shock and terror at the creature before them as it raises its head to the sky and lets out a loud roar, before changing back to Naruto. When he was done changing back, Iruka finally recovers from his shock before shakily asking Naruto, "Naruto, what was that?" Naruto chuckles, "That Iruka-sensei is part of my never-before-seen bloodline called Saurian Soul. However, I can't go into details about what it is and what I can do, but I can tell I can turn into creatures similar to that one." He finishes with another sadistic smile. Iruka sighs and runs the bridge of his nose. "Okay Naruto, I understand and you get extra credit for it. Now that the end of the exam, those of you that passed come back in a week for team placements." After saying that, everyone begins to leave. Naruto and Hinata leave holding hands. As they walk, Naruto turns to Hinata, "So Hinata, how was the academy?" Hinata giggles, "Well Naruto-kun, it was okay, but it would have been better if you were there with me." He smiles. "I know Hinata-chan, but you know why I couldn't be there with you?" She smiles sadly. "Yeah, can't believe how stupid the villagers are." Naruto laughs, "You can me both." Anko-chan says hi by the way and looks forward to the next time she can help your train. Hinata shivers at that, remembering the couple of times she asked Anko to help her train. After meeting Anko, the two started to talk about various things like girls stuff, the future, and of course Naruto, and after some time they decided that they would share Naruto because due to how his early childhood had been, they believed he should get as much love as possible, and if that means they share him, then all the better. They also decided that if any other girls were to come into his life, then as long as they truly loved him, then they were welcome to share him with them. Hinata smiles while remembering that. They continue to walk and it begins to get darker, so Naruto decided to walk Hinata home. As they near the Hyuga compound, Naruto remembers something. "Hey Hinata-chan, do you still have that little gift Anko-chan gave you when you two decided to share me?" Hinata blushes atomic red before quietly answering, "Yes Naruto-kun, I still have it and that was the most embarrassing thing I have ever done in my life." Naruto chuckles, remembering that when Anko and Hinata decided to share Naruto, Anko decided they should celebrate, which led to Anko getting a Aura NG nine-tailed fox tattooed on her cheek, Hinata getting one on her inner thigh, and Naruto getting the tattoos that are on his chest and arm. As they reach the Hyuga compound, Naruto gives Hinata a quick kiss on the lips and bids her good night as she goes in and he leaves. After walking a little, he notices Mizuki running with a big scroll tied to his back with Iruka-sensei chasing him. Sensing something off, he creates a clone to go and inform the Hokage while he chases after him. Mizuki was thrilled. He couldn't believe how easy it had been to steal the forbidden scroll. Now all he had to do was deliver it his master Orochimaru, and he would not only be rich but also powerful. As he was jumping through the trees, he noticed he was being followed and stopped for a second to find both Iruka and Naruto in front of him and says, "Well, look what we have here." Iruka and the demon brat himself J asked, "When I thought this couldn't get any better, now I can kill the demon brat before I bring the scroll to Orochimaru-sama." Naruto just chuckles, "So you think you can kill us and get away with the forbidden scroll? Man, I could tell you were stupid, Mizuki team, but this is beyond stupid. You're not going anywhere." Mizuki just laughs, "You stop me, you've got to be kidding me. Before I kill you, do you want to know why you're hated, Naruto?" Iruka's eyes widen. "No Mizuki, it's forbidden." But Mizuki ignores him and throws a bunch of kunai and shuriken at him, which surprises him, allowing them to hit him. "Shut up Iruka. Now what do you say, Naruto? Want to know why you're hated?" Naruto just tilts his head. "Sure, why not?" Mizuki then goes on to tell him about the Kyuubi, how it was sealed in him and all that jazz. When he is done, Naruto just laughs. Mizuki gets frustrated and yells, "What's so funny, demon?" Naruto stops laughing and looks at Mizuki. "I have known about the Kyuubi since I was 5 years old. shocking Mizuki and Iruka before he continues. Furthermore, you said the QB was sealed in mean, which makes me the QB, but if you fill a GL with water, does the GL become the water? At this, Mizuki and Iruka's eyes widen before a small smile comes to Iruka's face. Now Mizuki, you have attempted to kill Leaf Shinobi, stolen the Forbidden Scroll, and revealed an S-rank secret, which means that your sentence is death. Naruto finishes with a sadistic smirk on his face as he calls out, Multi-Shadow Clone Jutsu. The forest is then filled with at least 500 Narutos, all of which have the same sadistic smirk before all the clones say, Saurian Soul, Velociraptor. All the clones turn into Velociraptors and look at Mizuki, who by this point is icing himself, at which point all 500 Velociraptor clones attack at once and all he can do is scream as he is torn to shreds. Iruka looks on as Mizuki is torn to shreds, leaving only his head and the scroll untouched, and feels like he is going to throw up. Naruto walks over to him and begins pulling out the kunai and shuriken. You alright, Iruka-sensei? Iruka nods before saying, Naruto, about what Mizuki said, but Naruto cuts him off. It's okay, Iruka-sensei, like I said, I have known since I was 5, and when Gigi shows UOP and we get back to his office, everything will be explained. Naruto then finishes pulling out the last of the shuriken and kunai before going over and picking up the Forbidden Scroll in Mizuki's head just as the Hokage and some Ambu show up. The Sendaime looks at the sun before him, looking at Naruto and smiling. Good work, Naruto, mission complete, he says and winks slightly. Natio catches on and plays along. Of course, Hokage-sama, like we thought the Mizuki was the traitor, and after confirming this, following him here where I joined Iruka-sensei in confronting him, Mizuki proceeded to break an S-rank law punishable by death, along with the attempted murder of 2 Leaf Shinobi, and the theft of the Forbidden Scroll with the intention to bring it to the traitor Orochimaru. I eliminated him and retrieved the scroll while attending to Iruka-sensei's injuries before you showed up. Quote, the Hokage nods and turns to his Ambu Inu, take a scoot to see if there are any others around that might be waiting for Mizuki, and if so, try to capture them, but if unable to take them alive, you have authorization to kill them. Inu nods and leaves with most of the Ambu, leaving only the Hokage, the Ambu named Neko, Naruto and Iruka in the clearing. The Sendaime then turns towards Neko. Neko, help Iruka up, we are heading out my office. Neko nods and does so before the 4 of the Shushin to the Hokage's office. Once they reach the office, the Sendaime has the other Ambu leave before activating a privacy. Neko, remove your mask. Neko nods and does so, revealing a beautiful young woman in her mid-20s with violet eyes and purple hair. This is Yugao Uzuki, Ambu agent. Neko, she smiles at Naruto, it's been a while. Naruto-kun, how have you been? Naruto walks over and gives her a hug. I've been good, Yugao ni, how are you and hate me? She smiles. We're good, Naruto-kun, now let's see what Hokage-sama has to say. Naruto nods and releases the hug before turning to the Hokage. Hiruzen smiles before turning toward Iruka. Iruka, what we are about to tell you is an S-rank secret, so it must not be told to anyone. Iruka gulps and nods. The Hokage and Naruto then proceed to tell Iruka everything about Naruto, his parents, the QB, the relationship between them and so on. By the time they are done, Iruka's mind is blown. The Hokage then tells him he can, and he does so. Yugao then gives Naruto another hug before leaving herself. Naruto then turns towards the Hokage, who smiles at him and pulls out some money. Naruto, I am classifying this incident as an A-rank mission for you. So here is your pay. And I have to say, you haven't even been a shinobi for a day yet and already captured a traitor. I look forward to seeing your career, my boy, if this is just the start of it. Naruto smiles. Well, you know me, Gigi. He chuckles, then walks to the window and jumps on the windowsill. Well, see you later, Gigi. Anko-chan is probably waiting for me. Naruto then jumps out the window and begins running on rooftops towards the forest of death. Hiruzen just looks out the window and watches him go, thinking, Naruto, your will of fire burns so brightly that it breathes life into people whose own will of fire has weakened. He then sits back down at his desk to fight the greatest foe to ever exist, paperwork. Naruto arrives back at the tower in the forest of death and spots Anko munching on some leftover dango. He smirks and sneaks up behind her before wrapping his arms around her waist and kissing her name, causing her to let out a moan, and turns her head to see Naruto. You know, Naruto-kun, it's not very smart to sneak up on me. He chuckles before kissing her neck again. I can't help it, especially considering how much I love you and how beautiful you are. Anko blushes a little as she thinks how much she has changed in the 8 years they have been together. She still wears her violet hair in the same pineapple ponytail. She now wears a long tan trench coat that reaches her heels. She has on a black miniskirt held up by a belt that has a snake wrapped around a fox head haul. Ding it up. She wears a black mini top with a fishnet mesh shirt covering it, black shin guards and arm guards and a pair of black combat boots like Naruto. Naruto sits down at the table and grabs a stick of dango as Anko asks, "So how was your first and last day of the academy?" Naruto smiles and begs to tell her how his day went, starting with how he entered the CL room, which causes her to laugh and tell him, "Good job." He then tells her how everyone reacted to not only him joining them but him being Hinata's fiancé, which makes her laugh. Naruto then tells her about the tests, how Mizuki tried to sabotage, and how Sasuke tried to kill him after being beaten, which caused her to nearly storm out and kill the team before Naruto calms her down and tells her how he dealt with him. Then he tells her of the ninjutsu test and how he got extra credit, which causes her to laugh again. Naruto then tells her how he walked Hinata home and found out she still has the tattoo on her inner thigh. Anko blushes a little before laughing at that, remembering that day. Naruto then tells her about taking care of Mizuki, saving Iruka, and returning the forbidden scroll to Gigi. When he finishes, Anko just looks at him and smiles. All that in less than a day of being a shinobi. Damn Naruto-kun, that's impressive. She then gives him a quick kiss over the lips before getting up and leads him to the bedroom. "Sman Naruto-kun, time for bed. You've had a busy day and need your rest," Anko says as she begins undressing until she is in just her purple bra and thong before getting under the blankets. Naruto then gets undressed till he is in his burnt orange boxers and get under the blankets next to her, holding her in his arms before kissing her forehead. "Good night, my baby queen," he say as she smiles and kisses his forehead. "Good night, bye Foxy King," she says as they fall asleep in each other's arms. Naruto woke the next morning to find his vision blocked by something, and judging by how soft it was, he had a very good idea as to what it was. Anko's teacup. He smiles and thinks, "I don't care now how you do it, Anko-chan, but why is it that every morning you somehow end up without your bra even though you were wearing it when we went to bed?" He slides out from under her and places a pillow in his place before covering her back up with the blanket and going to make breakfast. As Naruto makes breakfast, he thinks on what he should do for the next few days before team placements. Let's see, team placements are in 6 days. That gives me time to get to know my fellow genin minus Sakura. He shudders and prays to Kami that he isn't placed on a team with the Banshee, I mean Sakura. "I should probably keep training, take Hinata on a few dates, and prepare for the shitstorm that those damn civilian counselors are going to send my way when they find out about me beating their precious Uiha. Why does Gigi even keep them around? All they do is bitch about things that they haven't or say in." Naruto chuckles and sadistic smirk comes to his face as he plans for the inevitable meeting with the councils before continuing to make breakfast. Naruto finishes placing breakfast on the table as Anko comes out, scratching the back of her head while yawning. "Morning, Naruto-kun, what's for breakfast?" He smiles. "Well, Anko-chan, we have eggs, toast, bacon and your favorite dango. However, I suggest you take a look at your current state of dress before you start eating." Anko looks down at what she is wearing and notices they is only wearing her purple thong before looking back up at Naruto, who is smirking. "Now, Anko-chan, as beautiful as you are and how much I enjoy seeing you wearing just panties, I think you should get dressed." Anko blushes before smirking and cupping her. "What's the matter, Naru-kun? Are you afraid you won't be able to control yourself seeing me like this?" Naruto walks over and gives her a quick kiss on lips before smirking. "Not at all, Anko-chan, it's just if you keep walking around like it would only be fair if I started walking around in just my boxers, and you'll likely jump me right then and there. Now go get dressed or no dango." Anko blushes at being out-teased before realizing what he said and rushes to get dresses lest she risks her dango. Natsuo smiles before sitting and waiting for her to return. After they finish breakfast and Natsuo washes the dishes while Anko dries them, she turns to him. "So Naruto-kun, what do you plan to do for the few days until team placements?" He thinks for a minute. "Well, I was thinking of training some more. If you wanna join me, maybe we could get Hinata-chan to join us, seeing how it's been a while since she did so." Anko smiles sadistically at the thought of training Hinata again before Naruto sees this and smiles. "Now Anko-cha, And I know what you're thinking, but try to keep the injuries down to a minimum this time, especially since Hinata can't find out which team she is on if she is in the hospital. Anko pouts a little before Naruto kisses her forehead. Now none of that, Anko-chan. If we're lucky I will get placed on Hinata Chan's team with you as a sensei. That way the three of us can train together all we want. Anko instantly stops pouting as the thought comes to her mind. Now other than training, I was thinking of getting to know the others who graduated, and preparing for the inevitable meeting with the councils. When they hear how I kicked the Uchiha's ass, Naruto smiles, remembering the kicking he gave the team Emo King. Anko smirks at hearing that and says, "Okay Naruto-kun, sounds like a plan. Just remember to bring a camera to the council meeting. I want to see their faces when you show them why they should "Aunt mess with you." Naruto smiles before giving her a quick peck on the lips. "Of course my Hebi queen was already planning to." "Anko, you better my Foxy King or you're sleeping on the couch for a week." Naruto shudders, remembering the last time he had to sleep on the couch after accidentally ruining Anko's dango. Naruto gives her one last kiss before they leave the tower to go and train. 1 week later. The week passed by quickly for Naruto. The first day he met up with Hinata and they went on a date in the park before watching the sunset from the top of Hokage Monument. The next day Naruto got to know his fellow genin minus Sakura and found they were pretty cool. Shino was pretty quiet, but Naruto could tell what he was saying by reading his body language. Shikamaru and Choji were pretty fun to be around despite Shikamaru being really lazy and Choji always eating something. Kiba tried to CH Alan Jim for Hinata-chan, saying that as an alpha, she was his, which ended with Naruto kicking the shit out of him figuratively and literally. The rest of the week Naruto hung out with Hinata and Anko, either training or just relaxing. It was the day of team placements and Naruto was standing on the roof of the building across from the academy wearing his usual trench coat, combat boots, red cargo pants, fishnet shirt, and black sunglasses. Thinking about how he would enter the classroom, he noticed Iruka just walk in before standing behind the podium and instantly came up with a way to enter. Smiling sadistically, he sinks into the roof. Iruka had just entered his classroom and told everyone to shut up before doing roll call. As he went down the list, he came to Naruto's name and silently prayed he wouldn't do any like when he first introduced himself. Oh poor Iruka, he has no idea what Naruto has in store for him, but I do. Cue evil smile. As he called Naruto's name, something started to come out the top of the podium slowly. Inch by inch it came out till it revealed it was Naruto's head. He had a creepy smile on his face that would make Orochimaru shiver before he suddenly said, "I'm Hiri," in a very creepy sing-song voice that nearly made Iruka have a heart attack as he jumped into the air screaming like a little fangirl and using chakra to stick the wall. Naruto rises the rest of the way out of the podium till he is standing on and begins laughing. "Sorry Iruka sensei, couldn't resist. After all, it's the last day that you will be my sensei." He then turns toward the back of the room. "Did you get all that on camera?" he asks. Suddenly a shadow clone appears holding a camera and nods his yeah boss, just Lee K, you said to now to go get it developed and P it around the village. See ya, the clone responds before running off. Iruka finally gathers himself before thinking, why does it feel like there is some all-powerful deity that enjoys having Naruto either emba me or make me want a drink? He then turns toward the CL, many of whom are snickering, a tick mark before clearing his throat, and begins a speech about he is proud of them. This is only the beginning and all that mumbo jumbo. Kiba then asks, "Hey Iruka sensei, where is Mizuki sensei?" Naruto snickers and Iruka flinches. Well, it turns out Mizuki was not only altering grades which affected the team placements, but the night of the graduation exam he stole the forbidden scroll with the intent to sell it to our enemies. At this many in the CL gasp. However, thankfully Naruto noticed him acting funny and informed the Hokage before chasing after him and confronting him, at which time I showed up. At this the CL looks at Naruto, who merely shrugs. Iruka then continues, "Mizuki then immobilized me before being defeated by Naruto, who then performed the first aid, saving my life." At which time the Hokage showed up. He finishes with a smile at Naruto. "Okay, now on with the teams. Team 1 to 6 not important." He then continues, "Team 7 under Kakashi Hatake will be Sasuke Uchiha, Sakura Haruon Q loud squeal and rant about your love wins all, and Kiba I Nezuka." At this, Kiba just slams his head on his desk and Naruto pats him on the shoulder. I feel for your Kiba. I really do. My advice: bring heavy duty earplugs if you want to stay sane. Kiba looks over and nods. Iruka continues going down the list. Team 9 is still in circulation, so Team 10 under assume a Sarutobi will be Shikamaru Nara, Choji Akimichi, and Ino Yamanaka. At this, Ino just groans. Iruka ignores her and continue. Now here is where things get interesting. Team 8 under Kurenai Yunhei will be Shino Aburam and Hanata Hyuga. However, due to a Jonan taking an interest in Naruto's skills and wanting to take him as an apprentice, that leaves Team 8 short a member. So Hokuto-sama decided to place him on Team 8 with his sensei, meaning Team 8 will now be Shino Aburam, Hanata Hyuga, and Naruto Uzumaki under Kurenai Yunhei with Ko-sensei. But before he can finish, the window breaks and in flies a black ball that opens to reveal a banner that reads, "The sexy but taken Anko Mitarashi, soon to be Uzumaki." At the bottom is a chibi drawing of Naruto in a tuxedo with Anko hanging off him wearing a wedding gown. Next to the banner is none other than Anko herself with a shit-eating grin on her face. As she looks at Naruto, who simple smile and thinks, "I should have known it would be Anko, this is just like her." Iruka looks at Anko. Anko-san, you're early." She merely chuckles and says, "Sorry about that, just couldn't wait to get my cute little genins and begin their torture training." "Yeah, that's right." Iruka sighs. The door suddenly opens and in walks a black-haired woman with red eyes wearing black sandals, a black skirt, and a red and white dress that looks like it's made of bandages. She turns to Anko and glares. "Damn it, Anko, I told you to wait. We are early." Anko just chuckles and rubs the back of her head. "Sorry Kurenai-chan, I was excited." Kurenai's eye begins to twitch. "Fine, okay, Team 8 meet us on the roof in 10 minutes. Naruto, Hanata, and Shino nod before getting up when suddenly Kiba looks at Anko and says, "Wait a minute, the banner said you're soon to be Anko Uzumaki, but the on lie Uzumaki is Naruto and he is engaged to Hanata." Anko just smiles. "That's correct, but so am I." There is utter silence and you could hear a pin drop when suddenly everyone minus Naruto, Hanata, Anko, Kurenai, and Shino yells at once, "EHHHHHH." Naruto chuckles and rubs the back of his head before answering what everyone is thinking. "Yes, I am engaged to both Hanata and Anko. Due to me being the last known Uzumaki, I fall under the CRA, which forces me to take multiple wives. However, just because I will only marry if both myself and he women I am to marry love each other." He finishes. Kiba and the rest of the boys in class minus Choji, Shikamaru, and obviously Sasuke then gets up, stand in front of Naruto before dropping down to their hands and knees before bowing their heads up and down before creepily chanting as one, "All hail Naruto Uzumaki-sama, the manliest man, the sage of manliness. Please teach us your ways in manliness. We are not worthy, we are not worthy." Naruto and the rest of Team 8 just stands there with sweat drops on their heads. Naruto then turns to Iruka-sensei for some help, only to find him also bowing down to him while chanting. Naruto shakes his head and looks at the rest of Team 8. "Can we just go? This is getting too weird even for me." They just shake their heads and head to the roof. When they reach the roof, Kurenai looks at them. "Okay, now that we're away from, how about we introduce ourselves? I will start. My name is Kurenai Yunhei. My like are Genjutsu, training. My friends, wine, and reading. My dislike are perverts, rapists, and traitors. My dream is to become the best Genjutsu user in the elemental nations. See you three reach Jonan, and have a family." She finishes, turning towards Anko. Anko smiles. "My name is Anko Mitarashi, soon to be Uzumaki. My like are Naruto-kun, snakes, sake, dango, and my friends. My dislikes are perverts, rapists, and a certain traitor, My dreams for the future are to kill said traitor, marry Naruto-kun and have a family with him." She finishes before turning to Hanata. Hanata nods and says, "My name is Hanata Hyuga, soon to be Uzumaki. My likes are Naruto-kun, Anko-sensei, training, and cinnamon buns. My dislikes are perverts, STS, traitors, and the cage bird seal. My dreams for the future are to abolish the cage bird seal and unite the main and branch families, marry Naruto-kun, and have a family." She smiles at the end and turns to Shino. Shino nods before saying, "My name is Shino Aburam. My likes are insects and honey. My dislikes are people who kill insects for no reason, and traitors. My dream is to become head of my clan and breed insects to make a new breed." Shino finishes by pushes his sunglasses up and turns towards Naruto. Naruto smiles before saying, "My name is Naruto Uzumaki, my likes are Anko-chan, Hanata-chan, ramen, the moon, training, foxes, snakes and reptiles in general, music, singing, playing my guitar, and cooking. My dislikes are traitors, rapists, perverts, the time it takes to cook ramen, and people who can't tell the difference between a kunai and the scroll it's sealed in. My dream for the future is to get stronger to protect my precious people, bring peace to the elemental nations, become Hokage, and have a family," he finishes with smile. Everyone nods before Kurenai says, "Now we will head to training ground 8 for the real Genin exam." Nobody seems surprised by this, so Kurenai asks, "What's wrong?" "Usually this is where you ask what I mean." Naruto just chuckles, "Well, Kurenai-sensei, it's pretty obvious that there would be another test that is designed to weed out the rest of the weaker candidates while at the same time showing if those on teams can put aside their differences to work together to complete the mission, which means that the test you're referring to is merely a test on teamwork, and now that we have figured that out we will work together in P. The test." Kurenai just stands there shocked as she looks at Naruto, who in less than a minute figure out the real meaning behind the test. Naruto gets up and walks over to her before closing her mouth. "Now Kurenai-sensei, it not very ladylike to stand there with mouth hanging open. Okay," he finishes with a smile, making Kurenai blush before regaining her composure and saying, "Okay then, you 3P. Now let's go to training ground 8 to train before we start taking missions tomorrow." Everyone nods before heading to the training field. After training for a few hours, Kurenai and Anko tell them they are done for the day and to go home and rest up. They then head to the Hokage Tower to report about their team. When they reach the Hokage's office, the other Jonin senseis are there waiting. The only ones worth mentioning are a tall man wearing the standard Jonin outfit. He has black spiky hair and a black trimmed beard, and is smoking a cigarette. This is Asuma Sarutobi, leader of Team 10 and son to the Hokage Hiruzen Sarutobi, next to his Kakashi Hatake, leader of Team 7. The Hokage notices Kurenai and Anko walk in and clears his throat. "Okay, now report on which teams P and failed." The leaders of teams 1 to 6 all report that their teams failed. Kakashi steps up. Team 7 passes but barely. The biggest problems are Sasuke Uchiha and Sakura Haruno. Sasuke wants nothing to do with his teammates and only cares about getting stronger. "It is in my personal opinion that if it meant him gaining more power, he would gladly either abandon or kill his teammates or a fellow leaf shinobi." Case in point, the incident where he attempted to kill Naruto Uzumaki after he losing to him in a spa. Sakura, on the other hand, only cares about impressing Sasuke. Kiba tried to bring the team together to get the bells, but they blew him off, and it was only after giving them a second chance did they pass, he finishes. The Hokage thinks for a minute. Sasuke shall be forced to go see Inoichi weekly to check his mental state. If he fails once, he shall be stripped of his shinobi license, have his chakra sealed, and become a civilian, he said, shocking some of the Jonin. He then turned Asuma, who his report the Team 10P asked. The Sendai nodded before turning toward Kurenai and Anko. "Kurenai, Anko, your turn," he said with a smile, already having an idea of how things went. Kurenai cleared her throat. "Well, Hokage Sam, Team 8 passed with flying colors." She then goes on to explain how Naruto figured out the true meaning of the test less than a minute after they were told they were not Genin yet. She then proceeded to tell him of the training session they had along with Naruto, revealing his bloodline, which shocked the Jonin that didn't know he had one. When she was done, the Hokage merely chuckles, drawing everyone's attention. Well, it seems Naruto is finally revealing his skills, and the way he did so is just like him. Okay, everyone is dismissed. The Jonin leave and the Hokage just chuckles. He then turns toward one of the corners of the room and says, "Neko, please inform the council that there will be a meeting that they all are to attend in the next 30 minutes. Then go and inform Naruto of it. He probably already has a good idea of what it's about." Neko nods before leaving, and the Hokage chuckles and thinks, time to go bust some heads. 30 minutes later, the Hokage sits at the head of a U-shaped ring of bleachers. On either side of him sit his advisors Koharu and Thing 1 and Thing 2, also known as Danzo and what's his name. On the left side of Theme sits the Civilian Council, aka the Peanut Gallery. On his right side sat the Shino I Council, which consisted of Shikaku Nara, Choza Akimichi, Anoichi Yamanaka, Sume Inuzuka, Shibuya Buram and Hayase Hyuga. Shikaku, Choza, Shibuya and Anoichi look like older versions of their kids, except in Anoichi's case an older male version of Ino, Hiashi looks the same as when Naruto met him. 8 years ago.